Counselor Davis. Here. Counselor Yank.
Present.
Counselor Bowlby.
Here.
Counselor Cormier.
Here.
Counselor Warner.
Here.
Vice Mayor Kojin.
Here.
Mayor Tappan.
Here.
I have one item on the agenda, discussion new business, possible action pertaining to opening a bank account with Bank of the West for Horseshoe Bend. We'd kind of like to make this a enterprise type, like to keep it sterile. I'm going to turn it over to Linda.
Good morning, Mayor and City Council. I don't think I've ever said good morning to you. Thank you for scheduling this special City Council meeting and for being here. As you know, the Council has requested of the Finance Department to transfer the money that was in our Community Development Department and create a Horseshoe Bend Fund. We have done that for this current fiscal year. The next step is to create the bank account that will go with that. So it was my understanding that we wanted to have a separate bank account for those funds. We have the separate fund already established, so it's not in the general fund any longer. So in order to do that, we bring before the City Council the opportunity to open and hold this account with Bank of the West. We currently have all of our other accounts with National Bank of Arizona here locally, our general account, our payroll account, and we felt that it would be a nice opportunity to share the banking information with other banks that were in the community. So with this request, we wanted to ask the permission for council to set up that account with Bank of the West and have the signers of the Mayor Levi Tappan, Vice Mayor John Kojin, and Councilmember Dennis Warner be on that account. So if you have any questions, I have Scott Swank, the branch manager from Bank of the West, here to answer any specific questions on the account, if that be your pleasure.
So, Linda, were you going to explain the process where you got a competitive pricing from them so that?
We went through, we provided to Bank of the West our current account balances, what we're running on our credit card accounts, and all the fees that we're paying. And Bank of the West was able to come in with a substantial savings for this one account with what our projected revenue is going to be. And so if you have more detail on that, Scott can speak to that specifically as to what those are.
Okay.
When you say card fees, you're referring to the merchant services fees?
I am.
Okay.
And our system will work with their.
It is. What we will do is we would create in our cash office, we would process 2 separate bank deposits for the day. One going to the Bank of the West account for the Horseshoe Bend revenue, the other going to National Bank for all the other deposits that we currently make. We're not changing the existing system at this point. And we would make those deposits. Then as Horseshoe Bend accrues expenses, then I will go through a transfer monthly, reporting monthly what the expenses were that were more than likely going to be paid out of our national bank account, and reimburse it from Horseshoe Bend, who's taking the revenue in, and then the expenses would also go against that.
So you're saying, Linda, that you're going to continue to take accounts payable even though there are expenses associated with Horseshoe Bend and process through the accounts payable account with National?
Well, currently, we only have one general checking account, and that's where all of our accounts payable are paid.
What about,
For everything, for our debt service, for everything. And then we do the transfers to cover those from the appropriate funds.
and you'll continue to do
We
that?
would continue to do that versus having another checking account set up and having to go through loading two different,
Yeah.
Kathy would then have to do two separate AP rights, one just for the accounts payable that would pertain to Horseshoe Bend, and then the rest for the rest of the city.
Yeah.
So it really wouldn't be any different than what we're doing now for all the other accounts.
Mr. Mayor, I move to authorize the finance director to set up a bank account with Bank of the West for the Horseshoe Bend account.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just have one other question as to who additionally would be on the account other than the 3 council members?
At this point, any of council, if they wish to be on the account, I'm free for that. We've always had council members on the accounts. So with the transition, the 3, we have the mayor and the vice mayor, they've kind of been constant on that. We had Councilmember Warner on there due to his tenure with the city and the council. But if any of you want to be on any of those accounts, whether it be National Bank or this account, we can certainly add you to that.
Perfect, take me off of it.
Or I could do that.
I just had the question as to,
You're talking about staff?
if staff is not on it, so,
I'm not on any of them.
council is the one who has to sign all the checks for payroll and everything else?
Right, but the way we do it here, Councilmember Yank, is unlike with the utility, we're not hand signing the checks. We have the signatures on a disc, and we're running them through with the council. We have all the
Electronic
other
signature.
approvals.
Mhm.
So we're not hand signing the checks. Now, if something were to happen, I'd call you all in and say, line up, we got to sign checks. But I don't know that I've ever had to do that, so.
I have one quick question before we vote. This may be putting the cart before the horse, but are there any issues or limitations with the 7-day-a-week operation to be at Horseshoe Bend versus the 5-day-a-week bank, and how we handle the 2 days where the bank's not open and the cash and the deposits? I'm just curious if we thought about that.
We're working through those details right now. Probably what we'll do is we will have a drop to the bank. They'll hold the deposit for us. We'll pick it up on Monday, reconcile it, and take it back to the bank, is what I'm thinking. We're still working through some.
They'll have a safe drop?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion and a second. No further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Move we adjourn.
Motion
Second.
and a seconded. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.